The giant was sliced at an angle, split into two parts, then fell to the floor, showering it with filthy dark blood and guts. Alright. Alright. Delano is gonna go desu on their goat asses. Countless massive goats, which had forced their way in from rooms and windows all across the mansion, wandered about in search of something to chew. Several of the goats noticed a group of people huddled around the staircase and lumbered closer, but they were pulverized by merciless attacks. Protect the family at all costs! My goodness, so many goats! And so many attacks. I see like the golden arrows shot from the cheesters like flying all over the place. And I see the stakes too attacking in their forms. They are extra bouncy today, in more ways than one. Not on his shields as they halted the charging of the goats, and Vegeta's magic spears pinned the giants against the walls. Sakataro, how are you holding up, buddy? Delanor's and Will's blades also sliced the goats effortlessly in two. The pinpoint strikes of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could pierce the vitals of and finish off any opponent, no matter how large. The Chester sisters were holding their own too. One shot from their high-caliber firearms blasted so many goats to bits that you couldn't count the kills with both hands. They would have been more than a match for them with the number of opponents. However, they weren't just up against a crowd, but an entire sea. It was like a pebble trying to face the approaching waves of a stormy sea. Yeah. When a certain interpretation or truth or mentality reaches many people, it is harder to fight against. Like, the more people influence, the harder it is to argue against it. Yeah. The cheesters, they are like cannons, whereas the stakes, they are like revolvers. Or maybe like pistols, I guess. The hole was filled with the corpses of massive goats. As if in fear of this sight, the goats that came in one after another formed a wall, keeping their distance.
They
The goats were surrounding them at a distance and whispering to each other. Then, they nodded at each other as though deciding something, and the whole group stirred. What are they doing? It almost looks like they are lining up in a different order. Lucifer took aim at one of them, going for its forehead. The other 6 sisters followed her lead, trying to pierce the vital organs all over the creature's body. However, there was no sound of pierced flesh. The 7 sisters of Purgatory were knocked back, unable to cause even the smallest wound. The goats kept whispering the same thing, over and over, as they slowly approached the 7 sisters. What the fuck are they doing? All of them whispered in monosyllable. As they whisper curses that deny the Seven Sisters' existence, the goats lumber closer. Ooh, my goodness. They just keep coming. The golden bows of the Chister troops mowed down the wall goats with a shower of bright golden bullets. Some of the goats were torn to pieces, but some of them seemed completely unaffected. Come on. You're not gonna go down with some cheap words from the goats, right? Then the goats were uninjured, all whispered as one. Ah, damn it. Their magic toxin. None stepped forward, stamped on the floor twice, and a red barrier rose up in front of him. The crowd of goats dashed into it with a terrifying force. While some goats were blown away by it, several of them slipped right through the magical barrier. I wonder what their mentality would be for Gop. Like, are they gonna think as well that she is a vessel of Nanjo? Okay. There was no longer any point in Virgilia trying out her own magic spear. Some of the goats must also have decided that her existence was fictional as well, and she would no longer be able to hurt them. All these great demons, great witches, high-level furniture, and weapons were overcome with fear of the crowd that surrounded them. A crowd that would not be affected by any of their attacks. A shriek from one of the goats became a signal for all of them to break. They pushed forward with gaping mouths and foul breath, each trying to reach their prey first, trying to return these fictional creatures to nothingness. Virgilia stepped in front of and held several of the Seven Sisters, who had fallen on their butts, overpowered by the ferocity of the approaching goats. However, even Virgilia was a fictional creature to these goats, and they could chew through her like cotton candy. Runaway threw himself at the oncoming goats. Even he would be chewed apart easily. Knowing this, Runaway leapt forward. Oh god, Runaway. Ronoe slammed his right fist into the side of a goat's face. As soon as he pulled it back, he swung his left leg into the goat's gut, then spun around into a reverse roundhouse that caught the goat again. Oh! Ronoe knew. He could do less damage than a mosquito bite against those who didn't accept his existence. This was what it meant to face an anti-magic defense of Endless Nine. The goat swung its log-like fist with a sound like a storm. Ronoe dodged by him. If he had been an instant slower, the massive arm would have crushed his head like glass.
このロノウェ、ご婦人のピンチを前にはついつい奮い立ってしまいます。私の悪い癖。
Ronoe grinned and tried to act tough. He had already abandoned everything. There was nothing he could do here and now, except become a shield to buy time. As the great shield that he has always been, he had already chosen to abandon his life for this. The goats kept coming, trying to feast on Ronoe. None had any pretensions of making this a one-on-one fight. Nothing mattered except chewing apart fantasy, even just a nibble. As they gnashed those ruthless jaws and fangs, they gathered around Ronoe. Ronoe's foot hit something, and he stumbled. Ronoe? In the same instant, several massive arms reached out and lifted him up.
Minasan, どうかお下がりを。私を夢中でかじる間は多少は時間が稼げるでしょう。しかしこのロの上、少し小骨が多いかもしれませんぞ。
An elbow rammed itself into the massive, hideous jaws that were trying to chew Ronoe's head. Of course, the goat did moan, but that did nothing but deprive just one goat of his right to the first bite of Ronoe's head. Many jaws opened wide, trying to crush him and throw him down into those heartless stomachs, which would permit no heartwarming fantasies to exist. All the many arms lifting Ronoe up were sliced off. The seven sisters used this chance to fly forward and grab Ronoe, dragging him back.
ミステリーとおっしゃった方はどなたですか？ドラノールの刃は通じるの？
そうか。相手がミステリーを主張するのなら。
And you're basically challenging the Queen of Mystery herself. Blood-red longsword in hand, Dalinar slowly walked forward. Behind her walked Will, tapping his back with his black blade. Yeah, I guess so. If there is anything that challenges the goat's mentality of mystery, it would be Dalinar and Will themselves, with their rules.
ファンタジーじゃねえってなら聞こうじゃねえか、お前らの推理。
皆さんのご考説、とても楽しみです。
The crowd of goats stepped back. They're all, oh shit! Though they had been so vicious against the fantasy creatures, they stepped back when faced with this pair wielding swords of mystery.
このゲーム版で行われた密室殺人の数々、どれからでも受けて立ちましょう。
違うぜ。受けて立つのは俺らじゃねえ。
そうでした。ミステリーとは挑むもの。なぜに私たちが受けて立たねばというのか。
Yeah, might as well turn it around them. Have them challenge with your mysteries.
分かってんだろうな。
You are the ones in the hot seat now. Blue Truth cut the goats apart. That Blue Truth dwelt within each and every one of the riddles in Battle's games so far. What about the locker room with the chain? First game, second Twilight. What about the locker room with the chapel? Second game, first Twilight. What about the trick to killing Nanjo? Third game, ninth Twilight. There was no end to the blades. The countless riddles Beatrice left behind became blades, challenges that tore the goats apart. If they wanted to deny fantasy, they had to make a counter-argument. They would have to deal with every single trick as a mystery. However, although the goats spoke words of anti-fantasy, most of them had prepared no answer for the mystery. Well, every now and then, there was a goat who did have an answer.
Nox 第1条。犯人は物語当初の登場人物以外は禁ず。
Yep.
"バンダイン第12作真犯人が複数であることを禁ず。つまんねえだろそんなミステリー。だから俺は思うぜ、ミステリーはもっと自由であるべきだとな。ノックスに次回がバンダイン20作も時代をくれ。ミステリーの原因が時代によってことごとなるはず。こいつら開き直りやがった。
やはり私たちは時代遅れということなのでしょう。
なら俺たちを納得させる推理を聞かせてみやがれ。
いざ来たれ。
The whole crowd of goats charged them. In their fangs, each of them carried furies to crush Battle's locked rooms. The bodies of the goats were different than the ones who had become corpses so easily just now. They had mystery-style answers to several locked rooms, so it would take several blade hits to deal them a fatal wound. However, Battle had left many blades behind. All of them were exceedingly sharp, so the pair of Inquisitors didn't think of this as a desperate battle. This was mystery. The goal of mystery is to use all your imagination and knowledge to challenge each of its riddles head on. And this is the greatest enjoyment of the mystery genre. So they left. Both Will and Eleanor left. With smiles of admiration as the Furies the goats had put everything they had into. They countered with blades from all the locked rooms. The crowd of goats was no longer an encirclement, but a great wave threatening to swallow their pair up. And yet, the pair repelled the enemy without giving an inch. They resisted firmly, cutting through the tsunami of wailing goats. It's like an ice-breaking ship knocking a path through a frozen sea. No hidden passages allowed.
ノクス第3条秘密の通路の存在を禁ず。
All evidence needs to be shown, though.
ノクス第8条提示されない手がかりでの解決を禁ず。
Delanor hesitated for just an instant. After all, this cliched and simple theory managed to get around both Dato's locked rooms and the Nox Decalogue. Well, can be possible, I guess. Delanor saw nothingness inside the goat's massive jaws. Surely the jaws of that goat had closed over Delanor's head. However, the upper and lower jaw were no longer connected, so the upper half slid off to the side. Yeah, that's true.
殺人以外のミステリーも立派なミステリーです。
The ghost didn't give the pair enough time to have a nice, long chat about mystery. Yeah. There can very well be mysteries where you think that some people were murdered but by the end of the story it will be revealed that nobody died. And it was all for a completely different kind of mystery. Like, I don't know, like theft or something. The next massive figure immediately enveloped them. Will's blade drew a diagonal slash across his chest, but only cut through his clothes, leaving no wound. Delanor's also hit it with her longsword, but still, it just cut its clothes without leaving a mark on its body. Could it be that this goat had a theory that didn't violate Nox or Van Dyne? In an attempt to stop the goat from saying anymore, Will Delanor hit it with blades from every locked room, as well as stakes from the 10 Commandments and the 20 Rules, but none of it had any effect. Okay, well, what is this one? Slowly, the goat clenched his massive fists together and raised them up high. With a roar, Will slammed into the goat giant with his body. Though its massive bulk bent back slightly, Will was still leaping into a death trap. However, if he hadn't done so, he wouldn't have been able to protect Delanor. The goat grabbed Will. He lifted him up and held him high in the air. It was like a little kid showing off his favorite toy and waving it around. The goat's massive hands closed on Will like a vice. All the bones in Will's body creaked. What?
それはどういう意味だ。
Okay, who the fuck is this one?
こんなのは本格正義じゃない。考えるだけ時間の問題だ。ベアトリーチェのゲームミステリーなど俺は認めない。全てのトリックに回答などない。全部
Okay. Well, in that case, if you don't accept it as mystery and accept it as just an illusion, then the other magical beings can do the job here just fine.
考えるだけ時間の無駄。
Will's head was lowered, so his face couldn't be seen. Thinking is just a waste. Now, why the hell are you even here in the first place, after all these games, and you've learned nothing? However, the arm of the goat holding him was shaking. The embrace of those log-sized arms with superhuman strength was being slowly pushed away by Will's shaking arms.
考えるだけ時間の無駄。お前、ミステリーを語ってその言葉を口にするのか。ミステリーってのはな、騎士道なんだよ。自らの掲げた高潔なルールで挑む、その姿勢を誇るもんなんだよ。勝てば卑怯でいいのか、どんなに気高く戦っても負ければ意味はないのか。勝ち負けじゃねえだろ。そう、戦う気高さを誇るもんだろ。
The goat's arms were now spread wide, and looked as though Will was now the one pushing it back. Alright. Go, Will! Will's face was covered in shadow and couldn't be seen. Oh, he's pissed.
お前のようなミステリーをする気もねえのにミステリーを語るやつがよ、俺は一番気に入られんだよ。
Will slammed his forehead into the goat's now unprotected head.
ミステリーを語るなら思考で戦う姿勢を誇れ。ミステリーを語るなら二度と思考の停止を誇らしげに語るんじゃねえ。
Will headbutted the goat over and over again. His forehead was gushing blood, torn apart by the goat's fangs, but he kept on headbutting. Van Diamond knocks may be behind the times. The mystery genre does progress with time, just like the world around it. However, there's one thing that must never change. That is pride. What is a knight proud of? Not victory. He's proud of the courage that lets him stand up to anyone without fear. Will couldn't forgive the kind of coward who could turn tail from a fight and then brag about it. People who call themselves mystery fans but who have no pride were the only ones Will just couldn't bear. The goat, unable to put up with it this anymore, threw Will down to the floor. Then, he lifted his fist again, determined to crush Will to pieces this time. Oh god.
キラ、お前は俺を叩き潰すだろう。だがそれはお前の勝利じゃねえ。お前は自らのプライドを自らの手で叩き潰すんだよ。
A fist like a cannonball swinging down towards him was the very last thing Will saw before he shut his eyes.
思考停止は
Oh.
このゲームじゃ敗北ってことになってるぜ。
Hehe. Bella smashed his fist into the goat's mouth. And smashed teeth bounced off the ceiling.
バトラ様。
思考停止ってことはミステリーであることを諦めたってことだぜ。ってことはお前にとってはこのゲームはファンタジーってことだな。
Yeah. In which case, that will mean that you're still affected by magic. Where you guys are back to square one right now. Bella lifted up his arm, realizing this was a signal. Lucifer and Chister 00 jumped.
思考を止めたならお前はもう舞台の上にいるべき役者じゃねえ。偉そうに語ってないで観覧席でポップコーンでも食ってろよ。
The goat lifted his fist again, then swung it down at Bella like a hammer.
ファンタジーに屈したならただの的でしかないに。
それはすなわち私たちの存在を認めるも同じということ。
Yeah, basically.
敵識別を開始。魔法攻撃可能な個体を HMD にマーキング。
ファンタジーに屈服してる子は私たちが相手してあげる。
推理があるならば我らが伺いましょう。
そういう輩は大歓迎だぜ。敬意を示して全力で受け止めてやら。おっと、しかしここはバトラ様の見せ場のようですな。
ミステリーもファンタジーもお前ら自慢のご公説をゆっくりと拝聴してところだがな。しかし今回はお前らのゲームじゃない。お前ら未来のかけらがどんなに否定しようとも俺は折れるわけにはいかねえんだよ。
A golden glint gathered in Bella's hand. It was so bright that the whole hall was bathed in gold. Golden butterflies flitted about, as though the whole wall was being swallowed up by the golden land. Attack them with your charged golden fist! Bella lifted his golden longsword high. Oh, even better.
ミステリーもファンタジーもベアとのゲームに挑む姿勢は大いに結構だ。歓迎もする。だがな、俺のこの最後のゲームの否定だけは眠る者の尊厳を傷つける。不謹慎を知れ。
The slice of the golden longsword flooded the hall with a sea of golden light. Then, the whole group of goats filling the hall with noise turned to clouds of gold butterflies and scattered. Even so, only about 100 of them had been wiped out. Before long, the massive crowds of goats outside would probably come pouring in like seawater through a hole in the bottom of a ship.
ガートルードたちの封印はもう少しだ。すまないな。もうしばらくここを持ちこたえてくれ。
もちろんだよバトラ卿。
それくらいしか私たちに見せ場はないし。
お前らも少しは戦ってもいいんだぞ。
だって
私たちは
司会者だし。
Okay. Their excessively blunt refusal drove through a few strange smiles. However, it had lessened the tension in the room just a bit.
バトラ様、ここは私たちにお任せを。これ以上の侵食を許しはしません。そして私たちの誰も決してかけることはありません。
無論です。なぜなら私たちもバトラ卿のゲーム版の大切な駒なのですから。
Yeah. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory, the Chister Sisters troops, and everyone else nodded forcefully.
ああ、頼むぜ。みんな、エンジのための最後のゲーム、絶対。下はなんとか持ちこたえてる。
黄金鏡の扉もゆっくりと開き続けているぞ。 まだ時間がかかるがな。
そういうわけだ。俺たちも時間を稼がねえとな。
The sea of goats that covered the ground below them was jostling about more and more. By now, even the sea surrounding the island had disappeared. The horizon was gone, and that chewed-up island was now floating on an eerie emptiness like space. The ghosts that flooded the edges of Rokkenjima seemed to be spilling off the sides.
このゲーム版はもうおしまいだな。
ゲームマスターがいてコマが揃ってさえいれば、いつかゲーム版などまた広げられる。ゲームなど人が2人揃いさえすれば何だってできるのだからな。
そうだな。エンジは一体どこへ？
And yet again I ask, where the hell is Erika?
例のあれはどこへ隠した？
そうだ。礼拝堂。礼拝堂はどうなってる？
まだ残っている。
Yeah, something tells me that Angie is trying her best to get over there. We may have bought some time thanks to the epitaph and all that. Something tells me that in order for the chapel to be opened to get that book, the goats are gonna have to try their best to solve the epitaph. And good luck with that one, goats. The chapel looked like a white building floating in the pitch black sea of goats. Yes, this was strange. There was no way those goats, who consumed everything, will go out of their way to avoid just the chapel.
エンジはあそこだ。
Unless Angie herself is here to solve that door. Well, actually, they don't even need to get to the gold. Well, oh fuck. They have to get to the Golden Land, so they have to solve the epitaph as well. But as far as the book is concerned, it is like right there. Outside the chapel was a sea of goats. Very soon, the earth around the chapel will be eaten away. It will probably end up floating on nothingness. The rampage of the goats, as they devoured everything and chanted the tragedy they imagined with one voice, truly made a lot of noise. However, none of that reached the inside of the chapel. Angie finally broke the magic seal on the entrance and stepped inside. The seal was supposed to be unbreakable by anyone. However, in the face of Angie Beatrice, Witch of Truth, the one who sought the truth and could sweep aside all forces that prevented her from finding it, no barrier was absolute.
あれね。
A single book, tightly locked, rested on the altar. It was the hidden diary that Ushirimiya Eva had written in, even in her later years. The book of the single truth. It was the one Federer had shown her in the world of 1998. And this time, I have the key. I gripped the gold key that sat in my pocket. The key Oni-chan gave me. As I approached the altar, I saw that the book of the single truth was wrapped in a strange bending on the light.
ベルンカステルの言っていたゲームマスターの封印とかいうやつね。
The book of the single truth was sealed in something like a crystal. It was a seal made by the game master's authority. This was on a different level than the breakable magic seal on the chapel door. No matter how Angie used her power as a witch of truth, this couldn't be broken by anyone except the game master. However, this time, Battler wasn't the only game master.
悪いわね、お兄ちゃん。ベルンカステルだってゲームマスター。乗っていって封印を解いてもらえばいいだけの話だわ。
And just slowly approached the altar.
エンジェは素直にそなたの言うことを聞くだろうか。
俺の妹なら 素直には聞かねえだろうな。
ならばどうする？
力ずくしかねえだろうぜ。
Alright, brute force it is. At that moment, a fierce impact hit the pair of them. Oh, Battle was flung away, and Battle was sealed inside a massive crystal that extended up to the heavens.
くそ、なんだこりゃ。
バトラー、なんだこれは。
It was a barrier, a massive cage of crystal. Battle was shut inside a crystal cage like a tower, so large that you had to look up to see the top.
ビアト、お前はエンジンを頼め。
そなたはどうする？これを一人で内側より破れるというのか。この結界は密室結界。
Yeah, I think that Battle is gonna be fine. We're just gonna be delayed here for a little bit. But you can go forward, Beatrice.
誰がこんなものを。
Yeah, it could be that person.
俺に密室で挑もうとするやつなんて一人しかいねえぜ。
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion about who that person could be.
どうやら最後の客がようやく到着したようだな。
まさか。
行け！エンジンを頼む！
Dato left Balor to handle this on his own and headed for the chapel. Balor took a deep breath, then smiled daringly.
待ってたぜ。退屈だったか？忘却の深淵とやらは。
The answer was a laugh. Yeah, you know, Oblivion can be quite boring when it comes to the palette of colors. Mostly reds and some blacks here and there and such, but mostly red. You needed a change of scenery as well. Yeah, that's right. That laugh is enough.
元気そうじゃねえか。
退屈ではありませんでした。だって信じてましたから。
だろうな。俺も信じてたぜ。
Better flung off the cape of the Territory Lord. It will only get in the way, and it will be a rude way to welcome his final guest.
あの暗い深淵は次にあなたに再会できたならどんなミステリーで戦ってやろうかと思案するには実にちょうどいい場所でした。
この水晶の檻は俺たちの決闘のリングってわけか。逃げ場なしのチェーンデスマッチってわけだ。
思えば私たちいっつもチェーンの密室をめぐって戦ってましたね。
ならそうするか。まさにチェーンデスマッチってわけだ。
私に準備はありますがあなたはどうです？
Oh, I'm well prepared. Yeah, rat. Yeah, freaking rat.
あるさ。言ったろ。俺も信じてたって。